We all know that feeling, right? You sort of picture it in your head, this really strong, loving relationship,
Yeah.
built on trust, communication. You
Yeah.
get the idea of what it looks like.
The ideal.
Exactly. But then thinking about actually building that day to day, especially when, life gets messy.
Oh, absolutely.
It can feel like you're, I don't know, missing some basic instructions. You know where you want to go, but the map's kind of fuzzy.
That really resonates. We see these images all the time, don't we? Relationship goals or maybe warnings about toxic stuff.
Totally.
The joy of feeling really seen and valued versus that constant feeling of conflict or just being ignored.
Right. The good and the bad.
And the research backs this up, clearly shows the differences. Intimacy, security, respect versus things like contempt, criticism, hostility.
Ugh. Yeah.
And we see the fallout, unhappiness, breakups. It even impacts our physical health or emotional well-being.
That's huge.
It is. Everyone wants that fulfilling connection, pretty much. But the how-to,
Mm-hmm.
it often feels just out of reach.
Exactly. It's like seeing the before and after shots, but nobody gives you the workout plan or the diet.
That's a great analogy.
And often when we do seek help, it's kind of late in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, very often.
Like couples therapy when problems are really dug in, or maybe premarital counseling, which is good, but it assumes you've already picked the right person.
Right. It presumes a good foundation might already be there, or at least a good choice was made.
It just feels like we're often trying to fix things way too late.
Well, that's precisely where this idea of romantic competence comes in. It offers a really different angle.
Okay.
Instead of just, reacting when things go wrong, it's about proactively building the skills you need for all stages of a relationship.
Proactively.
Yeah. Understanding what you need, fundamentally, making better choices about partners,
Ah, okay.
building something healthy from the start. And importantly, also knowing how to recognize when a relationship isn't working and how to handle that well.
Okay, romantic competence. So it's not just about like chemistry or getting lucky. It's something you can actually learn, a skill set.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
A learnable skill set. And what's really interesting is the research keeps pointing to 3 core skills that underpin this competence.
3 skills.
Yes. Insight, mutuality, and emotion regulation. And these aren't just abstract ideas. They have real practical effects on how we do relationships.
Insight, mutuality, emotion regulation.
And interestingly, these skills, they're not just for romance. They help in pretty much all your relationships.
Okay, insight, mutuality, emotion regulation. Sounds like, I don't know, the legs of a sturdy stool or something.
Ah, yeah, something like that.
Let's start with that first one. Insight. What does that really involve?
So insight, at its heart, is about developing awareness, real understanding,
Yeah.
and the ability to learn,
About yourself.
mainly, but also about your partner and just the dynamics, the patterns in your relationship. Think of it like fine-tuning your internal compass for relationships.
Okay, an internal compass. Can you give us some concrete examples? How does insight actually work day to day?
Sure, okay. Imagine you're feeling really snappy with your partner one evening. Just irritable.
Been there.
Right. Someone with good insight might take a pause and realize, hang on, this isn't really about my partner. I'm stressed because of that big deadline at work.
Ah, so connecting the dots internally.
Exactly. Instead of just blaming their partner, they see the real source. And then they can deal with that constructively. Maybe say, look, I'm feeling stressed from work. I just need a bit of quiet time first.
Got it. So it's that step back, checking yourself before you react. What's another example?
Okay, maybe your partner is always late, like consistently.
Oh, that can be frustrating.
Definitely. But insight might help you understand over time that this isn't them trying to disrespect you. It's just part of how they operate. Maybe their sense of time is different.
So understanding it as a trait, not a personal attack.
Precisely. It might still be annoying sometimes, but that understanding changes how you interpret it. It dials down the conflict that comes from thinking it's about you, seeing it less personally.
Okay, so recognizing patterns, understanding the why behind behavior in ourselves and our partners.
Yes, exactly. And it also means thinking ahead about your own actions.
How so?
Like recognizing that firing off an angry text when you're upset, probably going to make things worse, right?
Yeah, almost always.
So insight helps you choose a better approach. Maybe wait till you cool down, make a phone call, or talk face to face.
A more considered response.
And it's also about learning from the past. Maybe you notice a pattern. You always jump into relationships really fast and intensely, and then they burn out.
Oof, yeah, a common one.
Insight lets you see that pattern and consciously decide, okay, next time, I'm going to take things slower.
Making deliberate changes based on past experience.
And maybe most fundamentally, insight is about truly understanding your core relationship needs.
Needs like,
Like, do you need monogamy to feel secure? Or maybe you thrive with more openness. How much autonomy do you need? What kind of emotional support feels right?
knowing yourself on that deeper level.
Knowing yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that self-knowledge is crucial for choosing partners who are actually compatible with you in the long run. It's not just listing wants, it's understanding why they matter to you. That's real insight.
That makes a lot of sense. Understanding the why. Okay, let's move to the second skill. Mutuality. What's the core idea there?
Mutuality is, well, it's basically about recognizing that both people in the relationship have needs. And crucially, that both sets of needs matter equally.
Equally important.
Equally important, it's about fostering a we's perspective, not just me. Thinking about what's good for the relationship, not just what I want. It really connects to ideas in social psychology about interdependence.
Okay, interdependence. So how does that show up in like everyday stuff with a partner?
Okay, let's say you have a really stressful family event coming up, a party, a dinner, whatever.
Right.
And you'd feel much better if your partner came with you for support. Mutuality means you'd be able to actually say that directly and clearly.
Just ask.
Ask and explain why it matters. It would mean a lot if you came, I feel calmer when you're there. Or you're good at navigating Uncle Joe. Something specific.
Not just hinting or expecting them to read your mind.
Exactly. No mind reading. And not feeling resentful if they don't just guess. It's about clear communication of a valid need.
Okay, so stating our needs clearly. What about the other side? Supporting their needs.
Just as important. That's the other half of mutuality.
Right.
Being genuinely willing to support what they need, even if it clashes a bit with what you want right that second.
Okay, like what?
Maybe your partner finds that getting up early to go to the gym makes a huge difference to their mood all day. Mutuality means respecting that, supporting it, even if it means you can't have lazy breakfasts together quite as often as you might like. You value their well-being, so you accommodate it.
So it's a constant balancing act, a give and take.
It is a conscious effort to make sure both people feel heard and their needs are factored in.
So it's not just about small things, presumably?
No, it applies to big decisions too. Imagine one partner gets a great job offer. Exciting. But it means way more hours, less couple time.
Uh-oh. Potential conflict zone?
Could be. But a mutual approach means sitting down and talking honestly, considering the career opportunity and the relationship's need for connection,
Trying to find a win-win.
trying to find a solution that honors both. Maybe agreeing on specific protected us times each week, no matter how busy the job gets. Collaborative problem solving, keeping the relationship healthy.
That makes sense, considering the we in big decisions.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we've got insight and mutuality. Let's hit the third one.
Hmm.
Emotion regulation. What's that about in relationships?
Emotion regulation is your ability to manage your feelings, your emotional reactions to all the things that happen in a relationship, the good, the bad, the annoying.
Managing feelings. So not suppressing them.
Not suppressing, no. More like steering them, preventing them from getting totally out of control in ways that hurt you or the relationship. Like having a dimmer switch, not just an on-off.
A dimmer switch. I like that. Give us some practical examples. How does this look?
Okay, picture a small disagreement, maybe about chores or weekend plans.
What's the usual stuff?
Yeah. Someone who struggles with emotion regulation might instantly think, oh my God, this is a disaster, we're doomed, catastrophic thinking.
Right, blowing it out of proportion.
Whereas someone with good emotion regulation skills can take a breath and think, okay, this is frustrating, but it's just a disagreement. We can sort this out. We've handled stuff before.
Keeping perspective.
Exactly. Shifting from panic to a more balanced, solution-focused view, not getting swamped by the negative feeling.
Okay. What's another way it shows up?
Think about waiting for a text back from your partner. That little bit of anxiety that can creep in.
Oh, yeah. The read receipt anxiety.
Yes. Someone with less regulation might start checking their phone obsessively, getting more and more wound up. Maybe sending follow-up texts that sound needy or angry.
Creating a problem out of nothing, potentially.
Potentially. But someone with better regulation skills can notice the anxiety, well, okay, I'm feeling a bit anxious, but resist acting on it impulsively.
Write it out.
Write it out, yeah. Maybe tell themselves, it's okay to feel this, but checking won't help. I'll do something else. They'll reply when they can. It allows clearer thinking, prevents negative spirals.
That's a really good everyday example. Resisting the urge to react immediately to the feeling.
Precisely. And it's really crucial in tougher situations, too, like going through a breakup.
Oh, definitely.
Even when you're feeling intense sadness, maybe anger, loss, good emotion regulation helps you maintain your self-respect. It helps you stick to what's actually best for you.
So less likely to do things you regret later.
Much less likely. Less likely to send those desperate texts or plead to get back together, especially if the relationship wasn't healthy anyway. You can feel the pain, acknowledge it, but still act in line with your values and long-term well-being.
Wow. Okay, so these three skills, insight, mutuality, emotion regulation, they really seem like they work together, don't they? They're interconnected.
Absolutely. They constantly influence each other.
Do you have a story or an example that shows how all three might combine in one situation?
Yeah, I do. Think about a common scenario. Birthdays. Someone wants some kind of acknowledgement, maybe a gift, feels disappointed when they don't get one. Even if they said beforehand, oh, don't worry about a gift.
Ah, yes, the unspoken birthday expectation trap.
Exactly. Let's see how the skills could change that whole dynamic.
Okay, break it down for us.
All right. First, insight. The birthday person needs insight to recognize their actual feeling. Despite saying no gift, they feel a bit hurt, maybe overlooked.
Acknowledging the true feeling, even if it contradicts what they said.
Yes. And insight into their partner might mean realizing, okay, my partner takes things literally. They probably thought no gift meant no gift. Not malice, just literal interpretation.
Okay, that's insight. Then mutuality.
Mutuality empowers them to actually communicate this. Instead of stewing silently, they could say something like, hey, even though I said no gift was needed, I realize now that some kind of acknowledgement would have felt really nice. It felt a bit forgotten.
Directly stating the feeling and the need.
Yes. Opening the door for understanding, not assuming the partner should have known.
Makes sense. And where does emotion regulation fit in?
It helps the birthday person manage that initial sting of disappointment without, blowing up or giving the silent treatment. Communicate calmly.
Okay.
And it also helps the other partner, the one who didn't get the gift, manage their reaction. Maybe they feel defensive initially or guilty.
Yeah, I could easily get defensive.
Right. But emotion regulation helps them listen without getting overwhelmed. Maybe respond with empathy. Oh, wow, I understand. I totally took you at your word. I'm sorry I missed making you feel special. What can we do now?
Ah, so instead of a fight?
Instead of a fight, you get understanding,
Yeah.
connection, maybe even increased intimacy because you navigated a tricky moment, honestly.
Yeah.
The skills turn a potential negative into a positive.
That's a powerful illustration. And you said there's research backing this up, this romantic competence idea.
Oh, definitely. It's not just theory. There's solid research, particularly looking at young people, that shows the benefits of these skills.
Really? Tell us about that. What did they find?
Well, in studies with young teenage girls, like 13, 14 years old.
Okay, quite early.
Yeah, really early. They found that girls who showed higher romantic competence, better insight, mutuality, regulation skills, reported feeling more secure in their early romantic experiences.
More secure how?
More comfortable closeness, more trust, less fear of rejection. And interestingly, they also had fewer depressive symptoms and more positive ideas about what marriage might be like down the road. Plus, their actual romantic behaviors were healthier, like dating appropriately, showing affection in positive ways. And they were less likely to get involved in risky sexual behavior.
So even before serious adult relationships, these skills are linked to better outcomes.
It really seems so. It suggests these skills help build a healthier foundation right from the start and contribute to overall well-being.
That's fascinating. What about slightly older groups, young adults?
Similar findings there, too. Studies with, say, 18 to 25-year-olds, both men and women, consistently link higher romantic competence with feeling more secure in their current relationships.
Okay, makes sense. Anything else?
Yes, also better decision-making. They were better at spotting relationship red flags, recognizing unhealthy patterns.
That's huge.
It is. And they were better at both seeking support from their partners when needed and providing support effectively. They even measured this in lab settings observed behavior.
Wow. Okay. Tangible differences.
Tangible differences. And overall, these young adults reported higher relationship satisfaction and fewer symptoms of depression and anxiety.
So the link seems pretty clear then. Developing these skills is good for relationships and good for individual mental health.
It really seems to be.
Wow.
It brings us right back to that problem we started with, doesn't it?
Yeah, that gap.
That gap between knowing what a healthy relationship looks like and having the actual tools to build one.
Romantic competence seems to be the bridge.
It offers that bridge,
Yeah.
yes. a concrete, evidence-based way forward, focusing on insight, mutuality, and emotion regulation.
So it's really about empowering ourselves and maybe teaching younger generations these practical skills, moving beyond just the idea of a good relationship to actually developing the ability to create it.
That's the goal. And
Yeah.
by focusing intentionally on these skills, the hope is we can reduce those negative patterns, the fighting, the hostility, the lack of support,
And boost the good stuff.
and boost the good stuff, the intimacy, the security, the respect, feeling truly seen and valued.
Yeah. It really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From just finding the right person to becoming the right kind of partner by developing these skills within ourselves.
Exactly. Deepening self-awareness with insight, practicing mutuality actively, strengthening emotion regulation. It makes us much more capable of navigating the complexities, creating relationships that are healthy and fulfilling.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really reframes relationship success. Makes you think, doesn't it? About how intentionally working on these skills could really impact, well, not just our romantic lives, but all our important connections.